Welcome to B&B Gaming, formerly known as Bits and Bytes Gaming. I'm Pascal Takaya, and this is Instant Replay, our very first episode since the name change, Episode 9. In this episode of Instant Replay, I'm going to take you way back, further back than any other episode so far. Before Solstice, before Total Recall, before Nintendo started switching over to its 16-bit SNES console, in the summer of 1989, there was Bayou Billy.
The Adventures of Bayou Billy!
Known as Mad City when it was originally released in Japan, Bayou Billy puts you in the role of one of the original country boys of gaming, as he tries to rescue his girl, Annabelle Lane, from the greasy clutches of the evil Godfather Gordon. Although there is no given reason why Gordon nabbed Annabelle, or more importantly, why he's taunting Billy to come save her. The Japanese Mad City showed a different Annabelle, wearing a red dress rather than her Daisy Duke getup shown in the international version. Another change that is, in my opinion, rather unfortunate is that the Japanese game had multiple endings, one of which let you break things off with Annabelle after finishing the game to rescue her. Let's get one thing straight. Billy was a man's man, Konami's answer to Crocodile Dundee. He always reminded me of the WWF's Skinner. If you don't know who any of those people were or what the WWF was, then perhaps you're not quite old enough to really appreciate Bayou Billy. Growing up, Bayou Billy was always an oddity for me. I used to see it on the shelf in the games section of the video rental store, around 1989 or 90. I lived in Germany at the time, where the game didn't release for another year or two, but I would catch sight of the American version in the PX store on base. Not a lot of good it did me. I couldn't have played it on my European NES due to its regional coding. By the time it did actually release in European countries, I had already moved to the States, where the game completely fell off my radar. So it came that I'd heard of Bayou Billy, I'd seen it, but I never got the chance to sit down and play it, until I picked it up on the cheap, years later as a retro title. Bayou Billy was anything but a standard NES title. But then again, given the entire NES library to consider, most of its games were anything but standard. Right from the title screen, there's a Game A and Game B to choose from. I suppose when this game first came out, I would have had an instruction book to tell me what's what here. But most old used games don't come with instruction books anymore, so I just gotta pick one and try it. Maybe it has different levels or different enemies. Maybe each has its own difficulty. Then the game reminds one to use the controller to play. That's certainly unusual. Anyway, as I start playing, it quickly becomes apparent either A, how much I suck at this, or B, how hard this game is. Enemies wield all kinds of weapons. Knives, boulders, guns, whips. Even unarmed, 2 or 3 of them ganging up on you is easily enough to finish you off. Their normal reach is at least equal to Billy's, and they can take quite a beating before dropping. Billy himself starts the game armed only with his fists and manly rage. There's no way to level up or make him tougher, but you can pick up any weapon dropped or thrown by an enemy, and even their body armor to reduce gunshot damage. Every now and then, if you're lucky, you'll find dropped food to restore your health. And that's just the human bad guys. In the beginning of the game, while Billy is still in his namesake bayous, you'll be facing off against alligators as well, though the gator attacks are, naturally, absent once you arrive in the city. Speaking of making it into the city, you'll first have to battle your way out of the swampy bayous. After finally making it through the Double Dragon type beat-em-up section, you'll make it to an auto-scrolling shooting gallery style area where... What? Oh crap. Wait, I've got it somewhere. Damn it. Okay, got it. Be ready to have your NES Zapper to hand and plugged in for these surprise stages, because Bayou Billy mixes up its gameplay several times. If you weren't ready or don't own a Zapper, the stage will just scroll on by with every enemy taking free pot shots at you. But there is a way to play this section without a Zapper. Remember the two game modes from the title screen? Choosing Game B will let you use the controller in the shooting stages, though it doesn't work as well or feel as authentic as the actual light gun. The game isn't done with its surprises yet though. Following the arcade shooting stage are a couple of seemingly randomly thrown in driving stages. You'll need to commandeer Billy's Jeep while avoiding obstacles, shooting down attacking planes, and blowing up enemy drivers. Make it to the end of the driving course and you've reached the city, home of Godfather Gordon's heavily fortified mansion. Not that I ever made it far enough to see him for myself. Bayou Billy is still a tough game by today's standards, and that's not just because of the antiquated control scheme or being forced to play on an outdated controller. As it turns out, the Japanese original was actually a lot easier, providing players with more ammo and featuring enemies that had less health and were easier to kill. All in all, it's not a terrible game and certainly will give you a challenge to beat. Plus, it lets you use the Zapper for a few stages, which far too few games did. Thanks for joining me on Instant Replay as I take a look back at Bayou Billy. If you've got some thoughts of your own about this game, some fond or not so fond memories, or if we've sparked your interest and you want to see what this game is all about for yourself, drop us a line or leave a comment. We'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to join us right back here on Instant Replay next time when we hit double digits and take a look back at another gone but not forgotten game. I don't know what it'll be yet, but I do have a couple of ideas floating around my brain. In the meantime, check out the newly rebranded and remodeled bnbgaming.com, or look us up under B&B Gaming on Facebook, Twitter, Raptor, Pinterest, you name it. On behalf of the rest of the staff at the B&B Gaming headquarters, this is Pascal thanking you again for joining me. Goodbye.